Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another craft day. And today we're going to be making that winter flower wreath that we talked about, and I showed you the mesh when I showed you the haul I had the other day. It is a plaid mesh and a brown mesh, and I have a brown center, and we'll see how that works out when we put it all together. I'm thinking this is going to make a really pretty wreath and not something that can be used only for Christmas. And I think that's what I will do in my family room, which has got your reds and greens and kind of traditional colors. After Christmas, I think I'll put this one up and keep it up for winter duration before I come up with something springy. So I'm going to bring you down to the counter. I did pre-record some of the preparation so you could see how I prepare to do this. And the reason I'm going to do a voiceover with that, and the reason being that there was a very loud fan going behind me because of the wood burner I was using. The wood burners put off a lot of smoke, and you need to be wearing a mask, plus you want to clear the atmosphere as much as you can. So it was a little bit noisy, and I thought it would be best to explain what I was doing with a voiceover. But then I think we should be able to do the rest of the wreath, putting it together, live. So, and if we can't, I'll voice over that too. We have rain off and on, and when it rains here, because I'm in the shed, which means I'm right under a tin roof, and it gets very loud. But I'm going to try to talk loud enough to talk right over it if it should start raining. But anyway, let's get down to the table. And first, before we get to the table right now, I'll show you the table yesterday when I was preparing some of the parts for the floral wreath. So I'll be back in just a minute. I'll see you then. All right, here I have the brown mesh, and we're going to be cutting some leaves, and I need 10 leaves for this particular project. Now I'm using my wood burning tool on a glass plate, and right now I'm just evening off the ends. You can see the ends are all raveled, and so I'm just evening that off and giving me a good edge. Now how I do this is I have a mark on my glass plate to show me the 10-inch mark, and I'm just going right between two of those squares on the mesh and following it from top to bottom all the way down. And sometimes I have to just go back and touch a piece. And if you do that, it is easier to keep the mesh from raveling. You can see the smoke that this is giving off. That's why I'm doing a voiceover, because I have a fan blowing at me quite heavily because of the smoke, and also wearing a mask. So let me just bring you down a bit, and I'll just so you can see how I stay between the lines of this mesh. You see how it squares. I'm going to stay right in. You won't see the whole thing because I'm so close, but you'll get the idea. Okay, I'm going to follow right along in between, and you just kind of go slow and watch the line. And sometimes it doesn't go perfectly straight, but it's close enough. And now we'll do it one more time. And you can see that I'm right in between the lines, and you stay in between the same line if you can. And so you just have to be a little bit slow and going down. I do anyway. And you see how that leaves a burned edge, which alleviates some of the raveling. Now we're going to move back out, and we'll continue. And like I said, these are going to be the leaves, and I need 10 cuts, and they're all cut at 10 inches. So we'll do a couple more. And we'll continue that until I have all 10 cut. All right, I'll be back in just a minute when we're ready to cut the petals. See you in a bit. Okay, here we are with the petals. I'm going to be cutting 20 of these, and I'm doing the exact same thing. They're cut at 10 inches, and I'm following a line down through the mesh. And you might say, why don't you cut the two of them together? You know, sometimes when we're cutting regular deco mesh, we might stack 1, 2, or even 3 rolls on top of each other and cut them all at once. Well, what would happen if I did that is it would fuse the two pieces together, and we do make fused petal wreaths. And basically what would happen is it would melt the two pieces together. And so you wouldn't have two separate pieces, brown for the leaves and plaid for the flower petals. You would have a brown and plaid piece that's melted together. So we're going to continue with this until we've got 20 of these pieces cut, and they are going to be for the flower petals. Now let me just show you the tip. I'm not sure you can get a good view of it, but here's, whoops, it's not really going to show. There you go. You can see the shape of the tip. All right, the last thing we have to get ready is the frame, and I'm adding some mesh that I just cut. I measured it with the frame, and I've cut out a circle, and I'm just attaching it to the back of this frame with some 4-inch zip ties. And I'll probably put 4 going around. And this mesh is used to attach the 3rd row of petals and the center for the wreath. Okay? Now I don't have the best mesh for this in that my holes are quite small. I need to get some more that have bigger holes, but I have so much of this that I'm just using it until I need more. And it just means that I have to use a thin zip tie in order to get through it. I can't use anything that's too heavy or it won't go through the holes. And we'll see how this is used a little later. Now my wreath form is upside down right now. Okay, and I've got 4 zip ties. And we're just going to tighten them all up and try to get this as even as possible. I didn't need it quite so wide, but that's okay. It doesn't make any difference. Now we'll get these little tips cut off. And there you go. So it's ready now to be used for the wreath. So we'll be back in a minute and start putting. Okay, I'm going to get this center ready. This is the center I'm going to use. I got that at Craft Outlet. And what I'm going to do is take a piece of wire, and I'm probably going to mute this clip because the rain is pouring. And I'm just going to add some wire to the back of this center, like so. I'm going to take a couple of these U-pins And then I'm going to take a piece of felt and I'm just going to put some glue around the felt. And glue that on. Excuse me, I'm unplugging the glue gun. It gets very hot, so I thought I'd get it unplugged. Alright, so what we're going to do now is put that aside and let it dry, and it'll be ready. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is work on the leaves. Now for the leaves, you take one corner and go to the middle, and one corner and go to the middle, the opposite one. Then I'm going to just gather it. Okay? Gather it. Now this is upside down. I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to bend them up. And when I bend them up, I'm going to make one go over the other one. And that's the leaves. Now I've already put some on, because it takes me a while to do it. So what I'm doing is I'm putting one on each crossbar. Let me just come a little bit, okay? One on each crossbar on the second row. The rain is slowing down a bit. I don't think it's too loud now, but it was pounding. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is put one in the middle here and one in the middle here. These are both crossbars. Let me go back out again. So, corner to corner. Let me do it again. Corner to corner. Gather it up. Turn it right side up. Put them together. Pinch it at the bottom, and one leaf is over the top of the other one. Then you take your zip tie and you go in. Now the ones in the middle, we can slide a little bit if they need to spread out. And what I'm trying to do is to make the one that's previous go over the one next to it. Okay, we have one more. Okay. Corner to corner. Gather it up, turn it over, make one go on top of the other, put my zip tie in, the second row, and zip it in. You could put two in the middle if you'd find that they're not close enough, but I think these are close enough. They're overlapping pretty much, and like I said, you can move the one that's in the middle of the two of them a little bit. So there you go. So that's how it looks with the leaves. The next thing we're going to put on are the petals. Now the petal is done a little bit differently. I have got I'm going to go corner to corner and create a triangle. Okay? Then I'm going to take, and I'm just going to hold on to this point, going to gather the bottom all the way across. And you can, okay? Now what I'm going to do is to put these in between the brown ones on the third one. So I'm going to go on the third, put this down. All right, do another one. Okay, I'm going to make a triangle. Now, I'm left-handed, so I'm gathering with my left hand. Right-handed people, you'd be gathering with your right hand. Okay, so I'm just going to hold the middle, hold this. I'm going to push it up, and I'm just going to kind of form my petal the way I want it to look. It's kind of hard to hold these and put your zip ties in at the same time. I should have done that first. So what I've done is make my petals already, and I'll show you. Alright, so what I'm going to do is continue going in between each one of these brown ones all the way around. And I've made petals already. So all I have to do is put my zip tie in, go around my petal, not pretty. Put my zip tie in. Around my petal. Okay. All right. I like that with the brown. This is really pretty. With that plaid and brown. I gotta get some more zip ties. Hold in there. Just a second. I can get one more in here. I'm going under the third ring. And so there should be 10 going around this. I don't know why I keep putting these over here. That could just go in the wastebasket. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. You won't see the whole thing, but you can see what it is that I'm doing here. Okay, this is around the third ring. Take a tie. Take a petal. Okay. Around the third ring. Take a petal. There you go. Isn't that pretty? Now we're going to put one more row, but I don't have any room on the next row here, so I'm going to use the mesh. Now I have to get some skinny zip ties so they'll go through the mesh. So let me just change these out. And again, I'm going to go in between these. So I'm going to go in about maybe an inch. Let's see how that works. Okay, get a hold of it here. Get a petal. Okay, that's going to work good. want to go right in between these two. So we're going to go close. And down. And if I find the end of it, back up. So I pull them in, okay? Then get the petal. Okay? Alright, next one. Pretty close because I'm going in between these two. Down. And back up. There should be 10 more here. We'll see if we can get all 10 in. I think the trick is in getting your petals made ahead of time. Okay, moving along. We've got 5 in. 5 more to go. And then between these two, I'm going to go between these two. Down. And up. Okay, and the next one. And what this is doing is hiding all of the, no, that one's in backwards. I knew I'd do at least one that way. Hiding the mechanisms from the rows before it. There we go. Isn't this coming pretty? I love it. Beautiful. Leaned on it. Okay. Okay. Now, I have to tell you that my husband is, I'm getting a clamp, and hopefully I'll be suspending my camera up over my head, which is going to make everybody's view easier. I have a small tripod that I can clamp to the shelf, and it should work fine. It should. We're going to find out. Okay, I have two more. I'm going pretty close to the one I just put in. I know it's hard to see. That's a wide one. That's not going to work. It's hard to see with my hand there, I know. But one more. Sort of like pin the tail on the donkey, trying to find the hole to come back up. There we go. Look at that. Is that gorgeous? Now what do we do with our little center here? I'm just going to go around once with this, or twice. Now we're going to go down through the middle, hopefully. And get it on the back. Now what I'm going to do is twist and twist and twist. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to try to stick these back down through the holes so they don't scratch anything, including me. And there you go. Look at that. And I'll tell you, that didn't take too long. We basically made it in real time. The secret is getting those petals made in advance. Isn't that beautiful? What a pretty winter wreath. And it is about 23 inches wide. Let me bring it up and put it on the door and I'll show you all. I think it came out beautiful. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I'll be right back. Well, there you go. Isn't that a gorgeous wreath? And it really wasn't that hard, and it didn't take that long. The biggest thing to remember is just get those petals made in advance, and then you just attach them to the frame. So altogether I used 10 brown petals, and I used 20 of the plaid petals, 10 on the first row, 10 on the second row. But it is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And the brown center, I think, is perfect for a winter wreath. I love it. And now I have those 10-inch frames, I'll be making more flowers. Back in just a minute. Hang in there. So there you go. Isn't that a beautiful wreath? You can see it right over here. And you can see it's quite big. Like I said, it's about 23 inches wide. But you know, they're not too dimensional. So this kind of a wreath would fit between a storm door and a regular door, for those of you who have storm doors and regular doors. So that's something to keep in mind also. If you're making something, making one of these for a gift, it's a perfect gift for those who can't normally hang a wreath outside because of the storm door. And because it's between the two doors, it's really protected from the elements. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If this is your first time here and you'd like to come back and play along with us 2 or 3 times a week, hit that subscribe button and the bell, and you should be notified when I put up a video, which is usually Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. And until then, I'm going to see you Sunday for the first in our breakfast series. But until then, everybody stay dry, stay cool, stay warm, whichever you need. Right now, we'd like to stay a little dry. It is pouring, or it poured. Keep your distance when necessary. Wear your mask where appropriate. Get your vaccination. Until Sunday, everybody play nice now. I'll see you then. Love you. Bye-bye.